gonna start us off.
All right,
It's-
all right.
Let's
So
get
it's
into it.
supposed to be.
Johnny's got it.
All right, my
Alright.
people.
Welcome to the Reserved Course podcast.
Damn.
All right. This is why we don't love women no more. But
I know
Alright,
for real,
people.
dog.
Whoa.
Same shit every
Yeah.
fucking day, bro.
All I wanna do is
shit
love my
never
homies,
fucking
bro.
changed. Damn. I'm so tired of this
You know
BS.
what? You know, no. I'm not taking this anymore.
Yo, you want to do
No,
a
yo,
check?
hey,
You
chill,
wanna-
chill.
start us
you wanna
off.
I
do
was
a check?
joking. I
So,
was joking.
Nah,
the floor is yours.
It was a
Dinky dinky.
joke. All right, for real, for real, for real.
You gotta
for
sell
real.
the joke, bro.
All right, bro. Eddie.
That ass drop our
All right, Eddie.
Discord
Eddie, start us off. Eddie, start us off.
What?
Okay,
Why Eddie?
Because he's the
Eddie.
co-host. He's just designated.
Welcome to the Reserve Course podcast. It's your sexy co-host,
Alright, get him out.
Juno and
Alright.
Ice.
Get him,
Get him
man.
out.
Give
I'm
give
too
him
sick.
that.
I'm too
Oh,
sick.
slap.
Alright,
Eddie,
alright,
all right,
not too
guys.
much.
Eddie been
Alright.
listening to fucking Certified Lover Boy a little bit too much, bro.
That
You've been
is
listening
true.
to way too sexy too much.
All right. Welcome
He's
to the Reserve
listening, bro.
Court podcast.
Eddie is listening.
Bro,
We're on another episode. It's your
can
nigga
y'all
Mama
let me?
Jack.
Oh my god, y'all are fucking.
Hey, no
We
interruption.
stop
Problematic.
using usernames.
Yeah,
oh my
bro.
God.
Raise your hand before you speak.
Man,
please.
nigga, shit.
Dude, he doesn't like
I'll
his
raise my
username.
yellow
That's why
hand real
Zach
quick.
doesn't
Hold up,
like
hold up.
his. Keep using username. I like Juno
Because
Ice.
don't
Keep
get
saying that
fucking
shit.
pronounce it and people change their usernames.
Roxas.
Alright.
It's Oryx. Bro. It's not Araxis. It's Oryx.
How's it
All right,
going?
Eddie. All right,
It's
all
your
right.
boy,
For real, for real, for
Diego.
real. Eddie, Diego, chill. Eddie, okay, start us off, bro.
Can I say sexy?
No.
Do whatever the
No,
fuck you
let
want.
him do that, bro. That was funny.
You can say whatever you want, Eddie. We're,
Yeah,
just,
go
we're
ahead.
gonna
The
give you
floor is
shit.
You can
yours.
say what you want, but if you start fucking
Hey, can you give him
quoting
shit
CLB,
after?
I'm fucking
All
rocking.
right.
That's
We
what
literally
No,
did.
no, no, no,
Oh
no.
my
We'll do
God,
it
no.
when
Welcome.
we
Keep
do
that
it.
in. That
To the
was
reserve-
content.
Welcome to the
saying?
Reserve Course
Say it for
podcast. It is your sexy, graceful, humble host,
Oh.
Juno and Ice, aka Eddie.
This isn't laughable.
All right.
Today
and
we
Look at
are
this fucking
here.
metal lap.
Today we are here. We got a bunch of other sexy ass individuals in the call today.
Alright,
Alright.
he can stay.
let me.
We
me-
got
let me-
Diego.
Yo, what is up?
His username is Diego. We got DJ. His username is also
everyone.
DJ.
Yes, sir.
We got Mamba Jack, aka Ganyu.
Yes.
We
yes.
got Oryx. Am I pronouncing that correctly, Zach? AKA Zach.
I identify as rat. I don't appreciate being called sexy.
Okay. Next.
We
Alright,
got
we'll be
Pastel
dumbass.
King,
Hi.
aka John. We got Ron Morezer, aka Ron.
I'm not sexy.
That's
they
bars,
call me
low key.
Papi Shampoo.
We got
You're cringe.
12, aka Neri. Almost forgot my Roman numerals there for a second. Bear with me.
Nice save. Nice save.
Good job.
We got Ace, aka Angelo.
I should have got a juice box for
And
this.
that is our squad for today.
No, you missed one.
And today,
You missed one.
ladies
You
and
missed one. You
gentlemen-
missed one. You
I
missed
did?
Who? Wait, who? Who
Oh.
missed it?
Yo, you.
Wait, why'd you go back?
Yeah, okay, so Diego has
Bro, you're a fucking.
he's dealing with some
monkey.
issues right now.
missed
He's
Sa-
in the
Sarah.
past actually.
We missed Sarah.
Oh wait.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Wait,
got
I
you.
did it though. Wait. Oh wait,
She-
did
she
you leave?
changed
No,
her
she
name.
changed her
She
name.
changed her name to Mrs. Ogidan.
You're lying.
No, she did. I said that cringe shit.
See, I didn't. I would never have skipped her because she was
You
here.
didn't.
Next to...
It's in the
All
order
right.
of Discord. She went up under Agani for some
Okay.
reason.
All right, last person.
Okay,
is-
last but not least,
Yeah, yeah,
we got
yeah.
Young Titty Mixer, aka Sarah.
All
How's
right.
it going?
All right. Thank you guys for joining us here today. It's your nigga, Mamba Jack, the black benefactor, the tall, lanky businessman, the Nigerian king
Okay, stop
himself.
sucking your own dick.
Okay, enough.
That's the
Just
point,
get on with
nigga.
it.
Oh my
I'm
God.
joking, okay.
Fuck
Well,
up.
for
I
today,
give you a laugh.
okay. Today we're talking about fucking is our generation soft as shit? And
Yes.
honestly, that's a really
There's some other shit
interesting
too,
topic.
though, low key.
And some
I
other
feel-
other,
comes low.
other extra shit.
I feel like for any people who are listening who don't know, we should say like at least our general age range. Right.
20s.
20 to
82.
Everyone
24,
here is in our
right?
20s.
Yeah, we're all in our early 20s.
I think I'm the youngest at 20.
We're
Well, I think
Most
we're
of
in our
you
early
guys are
20s.
22,
My social
23.
security number is my credit
My
card
blood
number
type
is
my
Oh,
date
I
of
need
birth
that one.
is-
I need that one, go ahead.
Okay, so I'm gonna be picking who's gonna talk. Just type it in chat or just speak. So who wants to start it off first?
This is
on the
popcorn reading.
conversation?
Well, it's your topic, so I'd say you
Ron
can
said
start it
had
off.
hard. No, Ron said he had hot takes
I
though.
see.
So,
All right, so
you know.
Ron, we can start off with you.
Really,
takes.
nigga. Really.
Yes, really, nigga, because you said you had some hot shit. So let's hear that shit.
Yeah, bro.
Well,
This is
I
percent.
think today's fucking generation is soft as fuck. They fucking force labels upon themselves to fucking make themselves feel relevant in life, and it's just stupid.
I agree.
Mediocre, by the
Right.
way. Mediocre, by the way.
What does that
Hmm.
have to do?
Elaborate on that
That's a lot.
statement.
On them being soft, so like, at least for me, at times with people being soft, because like they always want to put these labels on themselves to fucking victimize themselves and make them fucking feel like.
What do you
some
mean
type-
by labels? Like
nigga,
something they would
label.
identify as, or like
Not identify as completely, because I also stay away from that like side of the internet, I guess.
Mhm.
But I just mean more like in general, like for example, people saying I have ADHD even though they've never been tested for it, and like stuff like that. Like people just give themselves these labels for no reason to like fucking feel like different kinds of way to either make people feel bad for them. Not everyone, of course, but it's like there's like these weird fucking, how do I fucking explain this? It's just a bunch.
So people who self-diagnose for the sake of like pity rather than like,
Uh huh.
is that
People clout chasing mental illness.
Yeah, pretty much
Literally.
stuff like that.
Oh, wasn't that a TikTok?
That's a great
Oh,
way to fucking
yeah,
put
it
it,
is,
bro.
literally
People
was.
clout.
That actually reminds me. I was watching a critical video earlier
Yup.
where he was literally talking about how people were faking like illnesses or conditions on TikTok, and mainly like Tourette's.
Oh, they're right.
I-
well,
continue.
and I was
gonna
like,
say.
bro, that shit is so. That shit is scummy as fuck to begin with. Like
That's my point, bro.
you
Like,
don't
people,
you don't do that shit.
all right. So first, we're gonna Sarah. You
Right.
have something to say? Diego, you're next.
yeah, so I mean, I was diagnosed with depression, like clinical depression and generalized anxiety disorder. So the thing is, like, something that really would bother me is that I do get, I used to get upset at people for like self-diagnosing, but I don't mind people self-diagnosing if they have like, I guess, a valid reason for it. Like, I feel like a lot of our generation is depressed. I feel like a lot of it is more common than people might think. And but that being said, I do hate when people use it as an excuse to act a certain way. So like, oh, babe, I cheated on you, but it's because I have depression and I constantly need validation and you weren't giving it to me, but this other person was. No, absolutely not. I
Someone's gonna
don't
get-
think
I
I
would've
don't
dropped
think
you.
that's okay. Like faking disorders is also very like I think just straight up it's an ableist thing to do, and just doing it because you think it's quirky or oh my god I have OCD. Like no, these things are real things that terrorize people. Like OCD is not some cute quirky disorder. Like it's something that actually cripples some people. And I do want to say, like, Ron, I do understand what you're saying, but I think you're describing like a pretty big, no, not pretty big. I think you're describing a really small minority. And I do want to say that overall, I disagree with the statement that our generation is soft. But I mean, I'll let anyone else who wants to talk about it first.
Yo, Diego. No.
Nah. I was gonna say something, but it's too far.
All right, DJ, you can go.
Oh, okay. Damn, that came to me pretty quick. I'm not. Yeah. So we had to clear this out. So yeah. So I mean, like giving it a lot of thought, especially recently, because like like my sister especially deals with a lot of like mental, instability. I would say, and I would say like as far as like what I hear, especially because like at work too, we're getting a lot of people coming in who are always talking about like, oh, like they've had to go get tested and all this treatment and stuff. And like the one thing that I hear is that like the one thing that I kind of came out of it was it's not that like people are soft, it's just that they're kind of like I don't know how to make this sound like right, but it's kind of like they're okay being where they're at in a sense, and like they're just gonna stick with their group. You know what I'm saying? It's like, okay, like they're depressed, they're gonna take the medicine doesn't work, okay, they're just depressed. You know, or something like that. I feel like this generation isn't mindful.
I
What
feel
do you
like you have
mean
to be
by that?
careful saying that though,
Wait,
because
what
like
what do
you
you mean
can.
by mindful though?
Like mindful of Hey, hold on. This is why I wasn't ready. I was trying to make my thought.
Well, because
We could come back to him.
what I was gonna say is that like, as you know, I mean, I don't know if anyone else here has depression or anxiety or is comfortable like sharing that, but for me personally, like antidepressants, I don't want to take them because the way that they like messed with me, the way they messed with my hormones, the way that they like made me feel, it just wasn't a good feeling. And it's not that I'm happy or I'm okay with being depressed. It's just that like it personally wasn't for me. The experience I had seeing a psychiatrist and psychologist was not pleasant at all. Like to the extent where like she was on her phone while we were having our session. But
Yikes.
but the other thing is like just straight up, I can't afford antidepressants. I don't have insurance that I don't have insurance and I don't have any like I have no way of paying for it essentially. So I don't know if it's more so like they're not mindful of it, but there are some people who are just in my situation who can't afford it or are going through something like that essentially forces them to have to adapt to dealing with their depression.
Okay, yeah, okay. I'm gonna rephrase what I said because I realized what I said was like pretty controversial. It's not my point at all what I was trying to say. But like what I mean to say is that like resources to mentally unhealthy people are very like good resources are very limited, and that like mentally unhealthy people like need better resources like available to them, you know, like more accessible. Because like, you know, like Sarah was saying, like things get expensive. Some people just don't know how to approach the topics. Like everyone needs, you know, it's case by case, everyone needs help. But also like with what Ron was saying, like studies like over time more studies are going to be taken, you know, and more things are going to be found out in medicine and everything. So like I found out recently how common autism actually is. I don't have any exact percentages or anything like that, but like I just found out like autism is like an extreme, not extremely common, but it's like actually a lot more common than like what most people would actually believe.
Okay.
They're saying that like people struggle with just mental illness more often now than like before, and that's why everybody's saying people are soft.
Hold up.
No,
Hold
I
up.
don't. I
Go,
don't
you
think
go.
that
Finish
that's
what you
it.
were saying.
I don't
Oh,
believe
yeah,
mental illness.
I had something to say.
I don't think mental
well-
illness is what makes you soft.
I-
No.
Yeah.
Ronnie, go ahead.
The thing is, I wasn't talking about softness as in mental illness. I was talking about softness as in like people are quick to get offended. That's what I was thinking about. Cause like you could say like something that you weren't have had the intention of making someone, how do you say, yeah, offended, and then all of a sudden you say it, then everyone's at your throat for something that you believe personally wasn't that much of a big deal. I can see that some people may see it as a big deal, but at the end of the day, for me personally, I'm just talking about for me personally, there's a lot more. How do you say? Not even how do you say? I know what I'm trying to say. There's a lot more important things out there than just someone saying something that's controversial or something that could get them potentially canceled,
Agreed.
something like that. This is like, okay, let's say if I said something like this, that uh just a general topic, like let's say men are better than women. Let's just say that. If I were just to say that statement without context, I would automatically get canceled. When
Agreed.
the perspective in which I can say that would exist is like maybe physically better than women. like we're, let's say, stronger in some aspects, and yes, some women are stronger than some men, but at the same time, we don't perfectly compare. But it's like sometimes if you say something like that, people have a adverse reaction to it. Like, oh, you're saying that, oh, when women are inferior to men. No, that's not the intention. It's just like a biological outlook of something that's just factual. Like, there's nothing we can do about it. It's just there. It's like sometimes what I've seen in our generation is that we tend to ignore the facts that are provided to us, but yet when something occurs, we look towards our feelings to justify those things instead of actually trying to think about them clearly.
Well,
Okay. So,
Yeah, go
oh,
ahead,
all right.
go
So I was gonna say so. All right, so Gandhi, what about what you said actually?
Yeah.
You said that when you talk about facts, it's funny you use the word better, which is like a subjective word. Say
No,
men
that's
are better than
no,
women.
no, no.
Okay, like
I
listen
said
though.
it on purpose. I said it on
I mean that's
purpose.
true, yeah. But it's
Yeah.
like, but you think it's like still though, it's like even like a phrase like men are better than women is like someone can argue. It's like okay, but like because you get to say you. I don't even think you would get canceled for one. Just say like straight up on the back. If you just say men are better than women, most people would just be like, "The fuck are you talking about?" Like,
Yeah.
wouldn't you say like you would say?
No, I was just
If you,
giving
it's
a.
like just straight,
I was
just saying
no,
better,
Eddie,
but like,
Eddie,
they would
Eddie.
ask you first in what, and
Yeah,
then
they would
like they
ask
would
in what.
argue
But I
in
was saying
specifically,
that
but like,
I was saying that statement and just a straight up thing that would get someone in trouble. That if you said men are better than women, you're gonna get in trouble, no doubt, because it's not a true
well,
fact.
you're gonna get people looking at you
You're gonna
like,
get people
what do
looking
you
at you.
mean? Like
Yeah,
they're gonna ask you to elaborate because yeah, something like that is just because especially when we live in a time where people can be extremely misogynistic, saying stuff like that can kind of like, I guess people just don't like the breeding of like bad
I have something to say
mindset
to like
and
break down
like
that
they don't want to cultivate bad like thought, I guess, like not bad because bad is also like subjective, but just like I guess we can all see misogyny as something like bad, right? Even though
yeah.
some people won't and other people won't, but like we see misogyny as bad. And so like I guess when somebody hears, oh, men are better than women, they're gonna be like, okay, well,
No, the thing is,
something
if
like
someone
that can be
hears,
rooted behind something like that can be rooted in misogyny. So like someone they're gonna ask you
okay,
to like
Eddie,
clarify and shit.
I'm gonna stop you there. I said the statement not as like, how do you say, an example of someone trying to say something that's not controversial. I just said the statement as just an example of like, because I couldn't think of something off the top of my head that was like
I'll tell you,
kind
like,
of
yeah,
like
I
that was
know,
kind
like,
of like yeah that
as
was
a
kind of
statement.
as a statement that isn't really, how do you say, that isn't meant to be offensive. But if you're saying is better than women, that's an automatically offensive statement. But I couldn't think of one that fit like that borderline gray area, so I just said that as an example.
Okay, hold that thought. Diego,
All right.
go.
So I just want to like clarify. I guess what Ganya's trying to say is that the reason why people are so sensitive, it's not because they're sensitive. It's just I would say they're a little bit irrational in the sense that they only take what they hear and or read at face value. They don't want to clarify for themselves the context of the situation or research what it's about. Like what Ganya said, men are better than women. Without that, that's sexist, that's misogynistic, that's just fucked, right? But if, let's say you're reading an article and then you're actually just talking about the statistics and male performance at the Olympics versus the women's, well, then that's a little bit different, right? Because now you have a context. It's just people don't want to go and dive deeper into what they're saying. So then they start ranting, especially on Twitter, and
well,
then
yeah, because
things spiral out of control.
Because as a woman, right? Like it. I think even then, saying like men are better than women, if you say that, like even if you are comparing like the men's Olympians versus like the women's Olympians, right? Like still even saying like men are better than women is still like I don't know. I still feel like that's
No, like it is a. I wasn't saying the statement as like a like. I was trying to find an example of where it's a statement that was borderline a gray area. I just gave that example as just an idea to brought like to keep the conversation going because I
Well,
didn't
no,
know
I
what to
mean
say.
I agree it's a gray area because
No,
generally
not that statement. That statement's not a gray area. If you say men are better than women, then you're fucking and you just say that and you just believe in that one statement, no other context towards that statement, then yes, it's a fuck statement and you shouldn't be say that. But I didn't have another statement in which I could find a gray area to literally to explain my viewpoint.
Yeah.
That was it.
Okay.
I mean, uh, really, I kind of want to delve deeper into what Ron was talking about like, okay, like people were like labeling themselves, right? I okay, like for context, for any new listeners, I'm bisexual. I identify as female. Um, all these new labels, I'm not gonna lie, they're starting to kind of like get to me. Like I had this girl who, not I don't even know, I don't even know their gender actually, but they called themselves like demi biromantic, lesbian, like all these other things, and I just all of these things start to become like a little too much for me. They're hard to keep up with for sure, but like saying I don't know, saying these things for me particularly is just hard for me to keep up with, and I don't mind, I guess, like changing my thinking a little to become more open to them. But something that does bother me is it feels like the community doesn't allow people the time to adapt sometimes. Like sometimes people are just genuinely curious or they just genuinely like want to know and they're trying to learn, right? Like I guess misgendering people is very common, but like I understand getting a little peeved by it, but I mean, I feel like we need to allow people time to unlearn their ways because it's hard to unlearn like certain habits. But
True.
Yeah,
Wait.
people should have more patience.
What do you mean
People,
unlearn their ways?
Unlearn.
like
Unlearn what, like specifically?
like for instance
Yeah.
like if we knew someone who was assigned female at birth, right, and we used she her pronouns for them, but then they discovered that like or they found along the way that they're non-binary and instead they prefer to use they them pronouns, right? I feel like it may take a little while, especially since you knew them as like she her before, to incorporate they them into their vocabulary when they're speaking about this non-binary person, right? Like that's what I mean by change their ways. I'm not saying like change everything you think about
Just
like
adapt,
everything.
is what you're saying.
Yeah, like just allowing people a little bit of time, I would say.
All right. So Angelo, do you have something to say, bro?
I mean, it's kind of all right. So, like, everyone should keep an open mind, obviously, and like see if they want to adapt or try to change. But like in the time period that like we grew up in, or like not that it's not like it's long, but it was in like in the, I guess the
Early
generational
2010s.
area. Um,
Boomer.
we adapted to this base mind of thinking where it was like oh, it's only two genders or type things, or there was more being incorporated, but nobody was really going into it too much. So we were in the mind of it's one or two genders, male or female type things, and everybody's like, okay. And then we started, there's more genders starting to come up, and then people were like, okay, well, this isn't normal because we learned this and this. It's only been two, so what is this other things? And I'm open. I have an open mind of like all the other genders. Like I'll accept it. Like I'll accept their beliefs and all that. Like yeah, I see where you're going with it. Um, I understand, but for someone to get mad, I understand getting mad for someone who would be either negligent or um having a closed-minded certain way of thinking where it's like no, you're this, instead of understanding. But at the same time they do have to understand that anyone else is not under any obligation to um to accept those feelings or to change their way of thinking just because someone else thinks of it that way. And I feel like people who do have that mentality where they don't want to change their way of thinking, they have this certain way of thinking, they should respect the other's point of views or their beliefs without degrading it or um like belittling or disproving it just because of it. I feel like they should either have a talk it out where they both sides are under understanding where there's a line not to be crossed, but still holding the same amount of respect without one side getting mad because like, oh, you just refused to do this, without them knowing the entire story.
People just need to be more understanding
I agree.
of one another.
Yeah, I think
That's
that's
pretty much
very
it.
well put, honestly, because I feel like both people are entitled to their own opinions. I just feel like it definitely comes down to, I guess, how aggressive it can get. You know, people are obviously going to be very passionate about their opinions, and I think that's kind of like where a lot of, you know, I guess, tenseness comes from or intensity comes from.
Controversy.
Yeah, from these topics is because people feel very passionate, and so when they hear something that I guess like rocks their worldview or is like the complete opposite, they're not, you know, they it's easier to get offended, you know, but like I feel like you can still have, I guess, traditional values while respecting modern values, I guess, you know, is one way of putting it, you know, like I don't really know.
But to
I just
to kind of like circle back to the topic though, right? Let's say for instance, the example that I used earlier, like a non-binary person who was previously like referred to as like she her pronouns, right? They're upset because maybe their grandparent refuses to use they them pronouns and keeps referring to them as like she her, right? In this instance, do you think that the non-binary person is being soft, or do you think that the grandparent is?
I
Wait.
personally,
Like, can you repeat that?
Oh, see, this is actually a
I
very good
repeat it, but
scenario.
I'm gonna go first.
People should need to answer this.
So the example that I
Yes,
used,
sir.
the example that I used previously, the non-binary person who was previously referred to as she her, right? They're getting heated because their grandparent refuses to use the they them pronouns and continuously uses she her, knowing full well that they prefer they them. Would you say that the non-binary person is being soft, or that the grandparent is being soft? Because let's say for instance, because a lot of people in our generation are using different gender identities to, you know, talk about themselves. So I think first Diego wanted to go, right?
Yeah.
What are your
Okay.
thoughts?
So, like, I'm gonna say first my standpoint in the situation, which is I'm totally open-minded. I agree with any consensual action between two adults, right? And
Okay.
why would you say okay? Let me finish, right?
Dude.
Holy shit! And like anything, what was I gonna say? See, you tripped me up.
Dude, he's starting up.
Okay.
Shit, dude. And so any of those like new pronouns and all of that, I don't really use them because I don't have that type of friend base where I get to put it in practice regularly. But if I do, what am I trying to say? Well, I'm not closed-minded. That's what I'm basically trying to say. But in that scenario, I would say it's a little bit of both. I think I do believe in you can't teach an old dog new tricks for the most part. But that's not like it's a crazy thing for them to change. Just calling them something different is not a lot. So I would say the kid needs to lower expectations, but then the older the grandparents would have to try a little bit more if they really do care about each other. That's that's really my stance on it. It's kind of tricky, I would say.
Next.
This is Zach.
I was simply
I-
gonna say, like, honestly, in a I guess intimate situation like that, I think there definitely needs to be like a level of understanding that needs to be met. Um, I think one big thing that kind of pops up often is kind of like Sarah said something about unlearning. You know what I mean? And it's factually proven that the older you get, the harder things get to learn. You know what I mean? So I feel like that could definitely be something that I guess stops um, older generations from kind of being more open-minded in that sense. Um, it's just it's a harder concept for them to grasp after they've literally had like what 70, 80 years in like, a different mindset, you know what I mean?
Hmm.
I think it's also, I guess, up to the person who goes by they them now to also understand that. Like, I guess this is gonna sound controversial to say, but like, is one person not like recognizing you? Like, is that genuinely something to get super upset about? I feel like, because like for me,
Misgendering?
I'd understand that an older person, like let's say my grandfather or my grandmother, who's unable to like I guess grasp that concept, or dislikes the concept. Like I personally would take that with a grain of salt, in my
I
opinion.
agree.
That's just kind of how I feel about that. I feel like if you have too strong-headed, ideas, I feel like there's like no point in kind of like having that clash or having those feelings. Like I feel like your grandparents can still care about you and misgender you, I guess. I don't know, that sounds weird, but I feel like it can come down to a learning curve, I guess.
Wholeheartedly. Because me growing
You
up,
know,
I've had of a lot of experiences with family members thinking very differently of others, races, or fucking like what they like. A lot of us, at least Dominicans, our island is mainly like Christian. We believe in God, and like these are a lot of our beliefs. Like we don't like we're taught from the Bible to fucking abhor gay people and stuff like that. And I don't agree with that. Like if you do what you want in your life, bro, and like I'm happy for you that you found yourself because I feel as though that's one of the main things of life to find who you are and who you want to be. And
Respect.
Hell yeah.
it's like you shouldn't just because like your beliefs are different or what you were raised on is different doesn't mean you should fucking shit on everyone or hate on them just because like your ideals don't match up.
I
Yeah.
don't think so. Going back to the original question for Sarah, is any of the parties at fault? I do not believe that any of the parties are at fault. This is a situation where both parties are not seeing eye to eye. Where, like I said, nobody owes anybody anything in this fucking world to each other. They don't have to conform to any of what they believe, but they do have to keep a level of respect towards something. So for the person in question with the party, like party one, saying they are getting heated because their grandparent refuses to acknowledge or do anything like that. Oh, if no, both sides are not soft. It's not even at fault and soft is basically gonna be the same thing because if some person that would quote unquote be soft or taking offense to it would be at fault or would see the other being at fault. And
Pop
and
breaking his line of thought, damn it.
okay, I gotta look out.
True.
But yes, I don't feel like to a point of an extent there would be a for lack of a better word, a softness. But in this case, I don't think it's most of it being soft, other than a personal opinion, because they want to expect something out of someone that has no moral obligation to accept the other's beliefs, but they do have to hold a certain level of respect and be like, okay, yeah, I understand what you're saying, but for me, I just wouldn't be able to accept it like that. But I respect your entire decision, your beliefs, but you just have to respect that I wouldn't be able to see it like that. I would still care about you, respect you as a person. We just have two different ways of thinking.
Honestly, that's everything I was trying. Loki was trying to say. It's like how I see it's the same way that Angelo kind of sees it. Like nobody owes anybody anything in this world at the end of the day, because I can
Not
see
even your
the
own
viewpoints.
grandparents?
They don't
Damn.
like it's
Not even-
no, they don't owe me anything.
I don't think so either.
They don't.
But do you owe your grandparents anything?
I don't owe
No.
them anything either. I don't even
Hot take.
realistically,
In an ethnic
Do you owe
family.
your parents at all anything?
realistically, you don't even owe your parents anything. Realistically, but the thing is, you feel like you're entitled to. That's how
Would
that works.
Would you ever tell your
It's a
parents that?
feeling. I would have a conversation with my parents like that.
I don't owe
I,
you nothing. Like you would say that dead
I
ass.
don't think
I
children.
never would say something like that.
I don't
That's
think
not how I
I
feel.
don't think
children
But that's
children
how I
owe the
think.
world. I don't.
but I think parents owe their children.
Exactly.
But what I was trying to say
Wait, what did
was
you say,
that
Diego? I didn't hear what Diego said.
I don't think children owe their parents anything because they don't have a choice in life. But I do think parents owe their children everything because that's just they have the
Yeah.
choice.
I was gonna say that.
I suppose so. But
You
either
say
way,
that, but then you become a parent.
but either way though, it's like how I see
Yeah,
it is
true.
like one side is like
And
for
then you
the
don't do it.
parent, I believe they should respect their kid or the grandparent if they should respect their grandchild's belief. And also me personally, I just feel like it's not that serious to like I could see how someone would get irritated by it, but I don't think it's something to hate someone over type stuff or just dislike because they don't value your own points. Because everyone's built different at the end of the day. And if you have to and if you can't compromise with someone on their beliefs, then how would you have any other interaction with anybody? Because at the end of the day, it's not all about you. The world isn't individualistic. Like no one actually does anything by themselves. You always need someone to do something with you. So there has to be compromise and communication about those things. So that's about it.
All right,
Eddie,
Eddie.
go ahead.
See, what I was gonna say is, see, as a day demmer myself, right? I was gonna say like, I guess for the most part, I don't really get offended when people misgender because I know it's not like from a place of like, what's the word I'm looking for? A place of yeah, hate. Like they're not doing it because they want to. Like I guess even in the case of like a grandparent, right? Because like if opposed to like an actual parent who's usually younger, like grandparents are really old, and like to expect like a lot of time like grandparents to like kind of like adopt new and ideas very easily, it's like really hard for them. I won't like blame them if they have a hard time like trying to like gender people correctly and not say like, oh, he she like like when someone's like, oh, I want to be they them. But at the same time, I do feel like as a parent and grandparent, like I feel like you should do what you can to make like at least your child feel accepted and welcome. Like it's just weird to like on purpose like be an asshole to them because you don't accept their feelings. Like I feel like it's like, okay, I get it. Like you don't if you were like not with them on like the whole they them thing, but like don't be like, no, like you're like I like at least understand like where they're coming from, because I don't want to be like 100% like adopt their mindset completely, because that's just telling people to like change their mindset all the time, and I think that's like really hard for people to do, of course. But at least understand and accept and talk it out. At least talk it out with your like child or anything kid, and just be like, okay, let me hear what you have to say, and let me give my thoughts on it. I'll hear your thoughts on it, and we can see and work on from there. And like, personally, I don't feel like any side has to be soft or softer than the other. Like, honestly, if it's two adults, they should talk it out like adults. That's my thing on it.
Sarah?
Okay, Sarah.
With a level of maturity, I
So
guess.
I agree with what you're saying, actually, Eddie. Like, but that's kind of what I was talking about to begin with, right? Like, is kind of like, is the grandparent, for lack of a better term, like in the wrong because the grandparent knows that the non-binary kid wants to be referred to as they them, but still enforces the she her thing, right? Like, I feel like if they slip up a few times because they're used to referring to their grandchild as she her, right? That's fine. I know there are some people who are part of the community that don't agree with me and that are just like, no, it's instant, you need to know. But for me, I think it goes back to like the unlearning, because especially if you've seen these people grow up, right? And ever since they were born, you refer to them as a certain pronoun, and then later down the road they identify as something else, right? It's going to take some time, I think, to use the new pronouns. But like, I think to deliberately do that knowing that your child or that your grandchild or whatever prefers something else because of your own agenda, I feel like that's kind of weird to me. But I can, the thing is, this is like kind of hard for me as well, because people referring to themselves or like identifying as something outside of the binary is a very difficult concept for people to grasp, because they knew nothing but that prior to, this generation. Because discussing different gender identities is a very recent thing. Well, mainstream, it's a very recent thing. And I feel like, what if later on down the road other genders or gender identities are discovered, or something else is discovered? Are we going to be the parents or the grandparents that are like, no, I'm set in my ways, you're not going to do this, like you're not referred to as this because that doesn't actually exist? Or
Yeah.
are we going to be open-minded to whatever new comes next? But
Right, you had something to say?
I'm done with my talk. I think Ganyu wanted to go first, though.
I wanted to say something about the whole what's it called? The idea of acceptance.
Yeah, me too, me too.
Because like, okay, I get that people should have like a place to be accepted and everyone should be able to understand everything, but at some point, no, not even at some point, how far is it gonna continue is what I wanted. It's like, because I'm not gonna lie to you, when I first heard the they them thing, I thought it was dumb. I didn't really
Hey,
get
me
it.
too, Loki. I'm not gonna be honest with you, bro.
I thought that shit
But
it made no
then
sense. I didn't see the purpose, but then after talking to you, I was like, people want inclusion,
I
right?
had to do some thinking, bro. It's a
Because
lot of deep thinking.
people want inclusion, and then that's where I started. Then that's when I started getting it, because like you didn't feel like they had a place to fit in or be respected. But then I thought
Exactly.
about, where does that lead to then? Like, who decides who gets included or not, or who decides what's acceptable or not? Because then it's like, are you, like, let's say you don't want this person to be included in society or something because you feel like their viewpoint is bad or something, but is that really a good thing to say if you want inclusion for other people? Then it's like,
Mhm.
to me, seems like kind of hypocritical. at that point because like it's like I don't know. It's like does everyone get included or does only specific people get included?
Well, that's kind of like what I was going to try to say. I had two like mini topics that acceptance is 100% subjective,
Mhm.
and within that, like you guys were talking about acceptance coming from parents and grandparents, etc., right? So like I was trying to break down that acceptance shouldn't really mean that they agree with you, right? Because I
Yeah.
believe a parent should accept you for who you are and all your worth. Now, your ideals might not match up and you might not agree with each other, but they should still realize and accept you as a person, right?
Exactly.
Now, and the other hand, I mean, aside from that, acceptance, like I said, subjective. Um, I don't want to say.
Just say it.
Like if you want to take, for instance, like a KKK member, their acceptance would be very limited. Now you know. Now you know, right?
Like
Their
I got something to piggyback off of
no,
that.
let me finish my statement.
Sure you do.
Their acceptance rate will be really limited to white, Aryan, right, racist of their same ideals, right?
Mm.
Now you go into the topic that we're talking about, acceptance within, let's say, LGBTQ, transracial, this and that, blah blah blah, all those things. So like the spectrum is widened, so it's hard to associate with other people when there's so many topics you could say that you're cherry picking, right? Like it's
Yeah.
not everybody follows falls
Picking?
within the same area, right? Under the same categories. So it's hard developing a relationship, especially when there's just so many people, right?
Yeah, I wanted to say something real quick. Then DJ's next. Like with that, like idea with the transracial thing, it was like I see how that could be problematic, but how I see it now is like, who am I to really judge what someone wants to do and how they feel? Because one, I don't know them. Two, I can never understand how they feel, and that's really about it. Because like I get that shit could be viewed as weird, but literally in the past, there's a whole bunch of other shit that was viewed as weird
Wait,
to
wait, wait.
other people.
Yeah, like gays.
Did you
Yeah.
did you say that included transracial identity?
Yeah, like I guess yeah, I can see that's a weird thing, but I don't really understand it and I never will be able to understand it. So I'm not gonna judge people on that. I can see that yes, it's a strange thing. But now we're coming to the day in today's society where I don't feel like people should tell people to not do anything unless it's harmful. Like if you're racist, that's just not gonna be accept. I don't accept that shit. Cause like who the fuck is gonna accept a racist person? You hate someone else because they exist. That's just weird in a
Concept
bad
doesn't make
way.
any fucking sense.
It doesn't make any sense. Like it's
I feel
whatever.
I
But
feel
that's
like
all I gotta say. But
Hold on,
yo,
Sarah,
sir, you could
before
go
you
after DJ.
go.
No,
DJ.
Sarah can go. Sarah
Oh,
can
see,
go.
well,
okay.
because I want to talk about what Ganyu said. Like, transracialism. I just like people who are one race and then choose to identify as a different one. That that's where I draw the line. Like what I posted earlier in like a Gen chat about this guy named Ollie London who is white and identifies as Korean and believes that he looks like Jimin from BTS. Like that I don't agree with. I don't
Yeah,
agree
He's
with
I,
delusional.
I get that you
I'm-
don't agree with that, but how I see it is that if he's not hurting no one and it makes him feel better or whatever, I couldn't care either way.
I
I'm
don't
gonna
but I don't
step
think you
in
have to
and be devil's
inherently
advocate here, though. Because going back to what you said, Sarah, that's like, I guess, I mean, just in general on the previous topic about kind of like a level of understanding, is that's how other people view like transgender, though.
Yeah, I was
Gonna
gonna say the same thing.
Because how you view this idea of transracial, like, I don't agree with it either, but.
Yeah, it's not like
The
anyone agrees with it,
well
but I'm just like it's
the logic
whatever.
for transracial as well is that like because the same way with gender is that how gender is a social thing, a social construct, and race also kind of like if you think about it, it's a social construct. So the people are like, oh well, if you could just change your fucking gender with
guess
what
they
people, I guess,
change your race.
yeah, you can change your race because it's also a social construct. But race is also like deep rooted in like very like in history, like and there's so much like
And so is gender, dude.
exactly. But you know, like I mean, so like so you're almost honestly the argument for transracial is there, right?
Yeah.
He's the exact same as
As transgender.
transgender. Yeah, I was born a certain way, and I don't feel like it anymore, so I'm gonna change.
See,
Well, that's not transgender though, because transgender people aren't born like I don't want to feel this way anymore type deal. It's literally like their body changing and their thought process
Well, I'm
changing
talking
and all
about
that stuff.
The thing is, right?
the ones who actually take, let's say, the full-on courses and surgeries.
Because well, let me finish my.
Nah,
my
dude, I'm telling you, it's even to your brain as well.
Oh my
Let-
god, let it finish. I'm sorry.
let
I
me
started
finish.
it.
I don't even. God damn it! I kind of forgot what I was gonna say. The reason I draw the line particularly there is because a lot of, especially people like Ollie London, they gain a lot of traction and they gain a lot of like they get a lot of views, sponsorships, money because they're getting these views, right? Because they're choosing to identify as, quite frankly, as I mean, something that they're not. Like Nuka Zeus, same thing. He's getting a lot of like he's profiting off of something that he claims he's a black man, but he's getting like these I don't even know how to describe this. Like I understand to some extent race is race is like socially constructed. If we're going to like use that argument, everything is socially constructed, right? But especially as an Asian woman, to watch a white person profit off of like telling themselves that they're this race and that they're identical to Jimin from BTS and this is why they're getting like this that like and quite frankly he looks nothing like Jimin.
Yeah, literally.
It's really frustrating to watch and it's frustrating to watch people really like take that culture and use it for profit. That's what I mean.
Every plastic surgery you get is a downgrade.
And the thing is, like, trans people will not feel comfortable in their bodies. Like there's literally like a neurological thing happening in their brain for that. What do you mean the same could be said about
I was gonna
Like
say the
what?
same thing. Like you said, wait, I was gonna say that you could literally, you're hitting on that guy because, or that person, because they're profiting for it. But you could literally say the same thing about, let's say, Caitlyn Jenner, right? Came out, switched up, and everybody hears about her, and she's taking $1 million ad deals with Nike, with this, with that. Would you hate on them because they're doing that and they're profiting off of that out of the sudden change?
the thing is, I feel like it's not I feel like transracialism and transgender can't be compared really. Honestly, I don't I said this in a previous podcast. I don't like Caitlyn Jenner not because she's transgender, but because of I mean her previous actions, right? Like I think
I don't know what the fuck she did.
if she's I think regardless of what anyone has done, then you still use their pronouns, right? Like I don't agree with, Nikita Dragon, who is a trans woman. I don't like what she does. I don't like the publicity stunts that she does, but I'm not going to misgender her and refer to her as, he, him, or refer to her as her dead name because that's what, like, she is a trans woman. But Let me see. Give me
I
a few.
personally,
Yo,
uh,
All
hold
right,
up,
hold on, hold that
hold
thought.
transgender.
up.
DJ, let DJ
DJ,
go.
DJ.
Okay, go ahead, go ahead.
Oh shit, I forgot I had to talk.
Y'all are getting limited to 2 minutes of talking.
Man, I was gonna backtrack like a long ways, but I'll kind of generalize what I wanted to say. I think, like I think there's gonna be extreme cases for like everything, but as far as like, I feel like a big door was open when it came to like people discovering themselves, and trying to be more grounded. Ever since people want to identify as like, what they feel is right for them. Um, I think it's more about the meaning behind it. Because like, yeah, like I could understand the frustration of like seeing people do things and with the intent of profit or with the intent of like exposure. But at the end of the day, like the guys were talking about earlier, like you don't owe anybody anything. Like you're there for you at the end of the day. And I think doing what makes you feel more like most comfortable and most in the moment is okay. Like whatever makes you feel more grounded, more yourself, to be able to live life, not be, like paranoid or annoyed, whatever gets you closer to feeling okay with being around, like outside and being around nature, like anything that gets you closer to there is fine.
Hell yeah.
As long as it's not like, harming other people.
Yeah.
That's
facts.
That's it, man. That's what
Because
I guess that's
I
how a
like
lot of people
you
feel
don't like I
nowadays.
don't owe, like for instance, like the example you brought up with your friend, right? Like um if that person took the step to discovering themselves and they identify as whatever you said, then that they should stand by that regardless of what anybody says, even if it is their parents or their grandparents. It's not if the meaning was that they took that change on because it made them feel better about themselves, and that's what they should focus on. They should take that as an opportunity to strengthen themselves, saying, oh, this is my choice, like, this is what I feel like, rather than saying, oh, I did this to change somebody else's mind. No, I didn't do that for that. I did this because it makes me feel okay with myself. And I think it's more about just the meaning behind discovering yourself and taking those steps. That's kind of what I wanted to add in.
All right.
Okay, let's Zach. Go ahead.
Zach, you got
Yeah.
something?
Yeah, I was just trying to say that oh god, where do I start? Um I think I was going back because when you guys were talking about like way back and you guys were kind of talking about like you never saw the point in it, I guess. I kind of always felt the same way because like not like I don't want to sound woke or anything or try and like come off that way, but like genuinely like growing up, like the concept of like gender identity was kind of like super foreign to me. Um Simply because I never like equated like anything to a gender, I guess. I never equated sports to being an inherently masculine thing. Or like I guess even like when it came down to clothing, I never really like associated like dresses with being an innately feminine thing. Um and so it's just kind of like for the longest time I got confused, and I'm gonna kind of pull back forward here to kind of how we were talking about like this idea that you don't owe anyone anything. Um
Is that like a motto
because
for today?
that's like it's true. No, realistically, like you really don't owe anyone anything, and it kind of I think the more important thing that I'm trying to link back to is like the idea of like that understanding, because it's completely fine to disagree, but it's also completely like I believe that it's also wrong to kind of like get hyper aggressive on both sides, because that also causes just more aggression between the sides, I guess, because it's like, you know what I mean, you could be like, oh, this fucking transphobic asshole, you know, um and it could just simply be as a thing like the dude doesn't understand the concept of like gender, right? And now this dude's gonna be like, I'm what the fuck, like transphobic, like whatever, just why is it so fucking you know what I mean?
Oh, I
It
get
starts
what you're saying.
exactly, it just generates a lot of like a lot of a lot of hate, I guess,
Yeah,
on both sides
stigma.
by bringing those to those like extremes. um, yeah,
I
I
guess
don't
what just
think
is
I.
like you can say like a lot of trans. Well, I'm not gonna say a lot, but some trans people maybe bring some of the hate on themselves by like I guess getting mad at people who are kind of ignorant to it at first, and then they kind of like make the other person kind of feel just like
Wait, yeah, of
not even
course.
they kind of like push them away from the idea as a whole by like
If
getting mad
you're
at them off the jump.
if
You know?
you're in a I don't say area, but if you're in an environment that doesn't support you and you're kind of stuck there, you're gonna start fighting back, right? That's
Yeah.
probably, if you're cornered, the only thing you really can do is fight back. That's what usually ends up happening. That
Yeah,
is fight or flight. So
exactly.
it's
And it
just
could be
that.
like exactly, and it
You
could be like
can't
said
run
the
away.
same
Exactly.
You
Let
gotta
me
way,
fight.
you
let me
know,
finish that.
on either side too, because people can be like, oh, how does like my gender identity like bother you? But you know that can genuinely like, you know, I'm not one of but like, you know, that could genuinely be something for other people. You know what I mean? Like they can feel uncomfortable with change, I guess, is an idea. You know what I mean? Um, shut up.
Right.
Um,
So
Yo,
who's
so
next?
Diego, you were saying something?
No, I was done.
Oh, okay, never mind.
Yeah, yeah. What?
I don't
I
even
was
know.
cutting him off.
Well,
I thought you. I don't even know
well,
what you were saying.
originally I kind of wanted to say that I personally put in
My bad. My bad.
transracial, transgender in the same boat. That it's people not being comfortable in one way to the other.
Yeah, because I
And
think. Oh, sorry. No,
I don't really agree with what Sarah said, that it's just not the same. I mean, it's not the same because it's not the same. I believe it's the same, so you should treat it the same with the same amount of delicacy, you could say.
Okay, Diego, I don't want to cut you off, and I don't want to get it before Sarah, but I think you need to know like about this specific case, like specifically, like this dude. It's not like
Well,
he's just like
well,
okay
no, no, no.
saying like
The thing is, I don't want to. I don't care about the specific case because I'm talking about the topic in
okay,
general.
okay, yeah, in general, true, okay,
In
yeah,
general. Okay, comma. You can tell me about the
because
specific case, and I can talk about that now because I've never heard of that person
yeah,
before now.
because some of her anger is like kind of like well, yeah, it's kind of valid.
Directed towards that one person.
It's valid because in the because of the way he's doing it. He's literally like trying to like it feels like he's kind of stealing this dude's identity, right? Literally, like he's
That's
trying to
what's
claim that
cringe.
he's like a fucking this like K-pop star. Jimin is his name.
yeah.
Yeah, he's trying to claim
So
that he's Jimin. He's trying to like get his face. He goes to Korea to get the best like plastic surgeons to give him his face.
now
Jimin's face.
okay, now that I have, I mean, like clearly I don't know the whole story still, but with just that information, I would assess that
This guy's a
putting the
psychopath.
transracial thing in it is okay. Sure, you could do that, and I'm pretty sure other people will bring it up there, but that's just more of a identity theft thing. I wouldn't put I wouldn't put the transracial
yeah,
tag on that situation because
unless
that
he's
literally
doing it
just brings more
himself.
problems.
Yeah, but he
I think
does.
one
I
thing
think he
is
does.
no,
Though.
because because I think that's one big thing. Is he putting the transracial like tag on it?
Or is, like, let's say the media doing that, because
He's
if the
doing
media
it himself.
Okay,
Alright.
okay, then
Yeah,
yeah,
he
but
does. He does it. He claims that he's
That's
he
why
claims
I
that he's
don't just,
transracial. He
I
doubles
don't
down on it
agree with
too.
it either
that's
way.
and then that's fucked, and he's
I'm still with
taking
you on that, sir. I
advantage.
still do not agree
He
with it.
doubles
That's
down
no
on it too.
fucking-
He even got like the Asian eyes and every. Oh my fuck, this guy's
Oh, the-
crazy.
Venting, venting.
I-
This guy's crazy.
Here's the thing, right? And it's been brought to myself. It's been brought to my attention because I looked this up further. Ollie London's, at least according to this article, they keep referring to Ollie London as they them. So I'm guessing Ollie London's pronouns are they them. My whole thing is like with the transracialism is, first of all, I didn't know this, and I should have brought this up earlier. I got a little like peeved when I was reading a different article about how I think this white couple had adopted a child that was of a different race. I think they were either Asian, or they were Asian, I think. So in that instance, transracial is actually it's supposed to be an academic term that is like that means that a couple had adopted a child of of one particular race or some ethnic group, and you know is placed into a family that doesn't have that same race or ethnic group. So transracial already is supposed to be meant for that specific purpose, but it has now been, is appropriated the right word? Like it's been appropriated for people like Ollie London, like Rachel Dolezal, who refer to themselves as a different race. And I feel like it's particularly with race and ethnicity, that kind of thing is like it's not the same as gender in the sense that your race and ethnicity is like based on your history, like your family history, like your ancestry. And I feel like picking and choosing that kind of thing is just not like,
You're literally disrespecting someone's culture.
yeah, like I don't
Like,
know.
it's a
And
very large lack of respect.
not only is it like disrespecting someone's culture, in my opinion, I feel like in in taking the term transracial and like people are, they're purposely like making a stab at the trans community. And I feel like transracial people who label themselves as transracial are the reason why people don't take trans people seriously.
Basically, the super straight of transgender.
Yeah, it's kind of like taking the concept of it and pushing it to its extreme and trying to fucking milk it for like
Yeah.
all of the ideals it can't, like, literally.
All
Alright,
right, Zach,
last
bring it
thing-
up to your
yeah.
closing arguments.
The last thing I like really wanted to say on the topic is like I feel like one big problem, and I can finally like kind of tie this back into the idea of like where this idea of like softness comes from, is that like at the end of the day, like we've already all established the phrase that, you know, the world doesn't owe you shit, right? So at the end of the day, someone else is gonna perceive you. You know what I mean? Like perception is not just like limited to you. Like you can wake up in the mirror and you can look at yourself and you can go, I like this is what I identify as, right? And I feel like that's kind of like the most important part, and that's where the idea of soft comes from, because like if like someone, I guess, misgendering you, you know, like kind of breaks your worldview, that's kind of like, I guess, where that idea comes from. Although like I can understand it is from like a comfort thing, you know what I mean? Not to say that that's how it's interpreted, but it's, you know, I think that's where that idea comes from, because, you know, like I personally see pronouns and sexuality as like innately personal things. Like I don't really care, like I don't know, that kind of sounds fucked up, like I don't really care what you do with your life, is what I'm trying to say. Like that's you, that's all you. I'm happy for you, I'm happy for your discoveries, but like I don't see that as like my business. Like I respect pronouns, you know, because I like to make sure people feel comfortable. You know, I want people to, you know, identify that way. I typically always use they them pronouns, because I've never really met someone who's got upset by me using they them pronouns, because they're just very general, you know, things,
Yeah.
until I learn someone's pronouns. Because I don't know, I think this is kind of like an old timey thing, but I also find it like a little awkward to like, hold up, what are your pronouns? I just feel like that's kind of like super like ham-fisted in a conversation, so I just typically just generally use all they them pronouns. But like I think that's where the idea of softness comes from, because it shows, I guess, in a sense, like I don't want to say because it sounds like I view it that way, but I don't. It comes off as like people could see that as like you're not confident in yourself. You know what I mean? That's where that idea of like softness comes from, because people are like, oh, me misgendering you shows that you're not confident in your own gender, or something like that. You know, that's one way that I could see where this idea of softness comes from, why that word's so used. I guess so commonly.
Okay.
I got something. One last thing to say, and then we can move on to the next topic, I believe. Right? Everyone's
Yeah.
good.
After
All right.
that, should be on.
All
After that,
right.
you're good.
So how I'm seeing this whole softness thing isn't only just like people feeling offended. It's more like not offended. It's more like no, that's literally it. I just feel like people are making too much of a big deal of things that don't matter as much. Like I feel like the world is a lot bigger. I feel like if people just thought had the mindset that the world is a lot bigger than they are, a lot of the issues that we have between each other wouldn't be a problem. Cause it's like we're all fighting about things that aren't that we shouldn't even be fighting about. It's like just fucking talk about it and don't fucking assume shit and actually listen to each other, and then things will be a lot more easier. The reason why I say people are soft because everyone on both sides of either arguments do that. They get offended of some lame shit without first listening all the way, and then we get into problems off some dumb shit, and just like it's like getting bored, and it's been done for like not even just this generation, but I feel like it's more exemplified in this generation than others. It's just a continuous thing, and just got to like to me, it feels like a boiling point of something.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's a great way of putting it. Saying, yeah, you know, a boiling point.
All right.
Okay, so the other topic I wanted
Why
to
do
talk about
racists still exist?
was like racist. Nah,
Because
it was
racists
about.
breed more racists.
This was more of like
Next
Who's gonna
question.
eliminate them all?
the topic that I was trying to bring about was like the whole. We're gonna still bring about the softness. Like, how would people generally view the idea of like, let's say, I were to say I wouldn't date a trans person. How do you guys think someone would view that
You're
in
getting
our
canceled
society?
off the rip.
I mean, it depends. Yeah, it depends on who you talk to.
Yeah, I get that, but I'm talking like your personal like opinions on it.
Oh
I
man, that's
personally don't see anything wrong with that. I'm gonna lay that down now. I don't see anything
With
wrong with that.
rejecting, are you stating that you're okay with rejecting specific people because of how they are?
Well, when you
Is that
say
what
it
you
like that.
wait, what
I,
did he
I
say?
don't.
Nah,
I don't.
I'll say it like that, and I'll fucking agree with it because
Wait, Diego,
I
what
have
did you
my
say?
own point. Okay,
Yeah, no,
so
because I was
wait,
like
you go ahead.
like you asked me a question, yeah. Let me like finish that because
I was
yes,
trying
even like
yeah.
kind of wording in that way, I guess yeah, because when it comes to dating's a very intimate thing. There's obviously sexuality is involved in dating, and if someone's not fully transitioned, and someone has an issue with a penis, okay, I I don't see how that's an issue with saying sorry. I don't want to, because like I know there are some people out there who don't care about the gender identity, or the necessarily, like, I guess, the body scene as much, but like to some people sexuality is an important part of like a relationship, you know what I mean? So
Yo, DJ was
I
next.
don't see an issue with that.
Yo,
Oh,
DJ.
me next. Me next.
Yes, sir.
Okay, yeah. So basically, like, to kind of take what Ganyu said and kind of like my take on it is that, like, I kind of see softness, like, as we started speaking now and stuff like that, I kind of thinking like, what is soft? You know, like, what is soft? And I think soft is like an extent, right?
Yeah.
So there's a certain level of like maturity that you can have, when you talk to somebody, right? Because like you're gonna have emotions, you're gonna feel flustered, you're gonna feel offended. That's fine. I don't think that makes you soft, because that's just
It
how you
doesn't.
feel about, you're passionate. If someone doesn't agree with you, of course it's gonna hit you a little wrong, right? You're gonna be like, oh, damn.
Yeah.
But I feel like it's an extent, right? So if someone goes up to me and they're like, or if I go up to someone, I'm like, oh, like, would you date like a trans person, and then they go, oh no, like fuck trans people, like, ugh, disgusting, oh my god, I would consider that soft.
Yeah.
In my personal experience, like, I would consider that soft. But if they're like, oh no, like, they're just not, it's just not kind of what I would be looking for, I have nothing against it, but just not my thing, then I'm like, okay, that's fair, right? So I just feel like soft in this case is just going into an extent. It's like when people go on like Twitter rants about something that happened, and there's like, oh, like, what the fuck is this, versus like having a talk with the person, just being like, hey, like, I don't agree with it,
Yeah.
but you do your thing, but just letting you know, like, I'm not cool, you know? Like,
Yeah,
like, that's kind of what I think, like, soft is, you know,
So
and
I have a
specifically in this
question
We
case.
should have
for
had
you.
a universal
I have a
definition.
question for you. So are you saying like soft is more like a I had it in my fucking brain.
thick
Insecure?
headed.
No, no,
Insecurity?
no, no. It's more like softness is like you overreact to something. It's not that you have any reaction,
Wait.
but you overreact.
Mm-hmm.
That's
That
not.
no, that's how I'm seeing how he says it, and that's how I personally see it. Like it's not that I don't have a problem with people reacting to something and having feeling taken aback or when something says, but it's when they overreact and take it to a whole other extent to it to make
Hmm.
it more of a bigger deal than it actually is.
Ooh, I
Even
got
though if
something
it
to
may
say about
may
that.
be a big deal to them, but I can still see something as like
Yeah,
it's-
like basically, like I say, I guess you could say an overreaction, but like kind of like I forgot who brought it up, but kind of like when you no, it was you, Ganya. When you said people take things out of like proportion, they make things bigger than what they actually are. I feel like the people who take things to that extent are considered soft.
yeah.
Something
Okay.
that could easily be spoken over, even if you disagree, as long as you both heard each other out. But no, instead it just breaks into some kind of, like social media rant, and then,
Yeah.
picking sides and who's right, who's wrong,
Useless
who
arguments.
is soft, who's not soft, that's what makes people soft. That's when it's like, okay, this is like not cool. Like we could have talked about this, but now it's a whole thing.
True.
Mm.
Diego, did you have something to say?
No.
Okay. Does anyone have a follow-up talk or like a follow-up to the topic? Would you date a trans person or their
Me.
personal view on it?
Me, smile.
Go ahead.
You sound so
I want to
tired.
hear people's
I
views
didn't
on
even
I
this.
am, and I got work
Everybody
at
already knows
5, so we
mine,
need to
bro.
wrap
I
this
want to
shit
hear
up.
other people's.
Angela, just go to sleep,
Niggas,
bro.
niggas
No,
are too
no,
silent about this
No,
I'm
wait,
question.
here
hold up,
till
hold
the
up,
end.
hold up, hold up, hold up. Angela, if you need to go, it's
No,
cool.
I'm good. I'm good. I'm just saying. We're
Man's
about to
About
wrap
literally,
this
5
up.
hours of sleep with 8 hours.
man's
Nah.
literally works at a coffee shop. He's fine.
Nah,
Dude, just drink your ass some coffee, nigga. You be alright.
Yeah, why you
Like
being
the
soft?
Broncos,
All right, all right, all right.
Yeah,
Sarah,
we being
so
Yeah,
Sarah,
you being
Sarah.
soft.
Hold up, Sarah. You have something to say?
See, I feel like this is this is a difficult thing because, like, even just like a few weeks ago, I would say like you're transphobic for not wanting to date a trans person. But my thing is like this is where it gets kind of dicey, right? Because like Zach said earlier, like unless this person is like fully transitioned, right? Like at that point, right? When you're talking about their like actual genitals, right? Being what you prefer sexually, then if you'd still date a trans woman after she's done any or all surgeries, after like eh, would you still date a trans woman in that case, right?
Are you asking that for everyone here?
Are you asking, or are you
Yeah,
saying?
because I'm asking because like if I'm remembering correctly, and please correct me if I'm wrong, like Zach brought that up, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Unless
I did bring up the genitals. I did bring that up. Yes.
Hey, no,
I
we
did
don't,
bring up
we don't make fun of speech impediments unless it's Eddie.
no,
I did bring up the
I
genitals.
have,
If you
I
can
have
sum it
a
up, we
pretty
can laugh
good
it off.
comment
And-
into that.
But
Like-
I'm asking, like I'm genuinely asking.
Yeah, when he brought up genitals, I was like, okay, what about people who are fully transitioned? It's
No,
like,
that's
would you
fine.
still say
All
yes?
right,
And-
I've a-
Wait, can I?
All right,
can I-
so wait, no. Type
can I say
who
one
wants to go
thing?
next.
I
Well,
did.
Diego raised his hand, so let Diego go.
Yeah, well, I'll let
Alright.
Diego go
Oh,
first.
cool.
But I want to say
Like,
one thing on it.
I would say
afterwards.
dating somebody is 100% completely subjective, right? You have your specific taste in a person, right? It's that simple. So I would say, including, of course, their genitalia, but on top of that, you got to know that a person is different when they if they transition. Like, you still got to realize if they were a man beforehand, just because they physically have the genitalia, doesn't it, you might not personally like that the rest of their body is still, let's say, adapting, or still is, or was a man. Like, that's not If you don't like that, you don't like that. I'll say it's as valuable as any characteristic as a person. Let's say as their honesty, as their as their.
Why are you licking your lips?
I'm not licking my
Thinking about
lips.
Licking your
that.
lips at the thought
I'm
of
holding. I'm
honesty,
holding
no.
back the spit, bro.
What the
That's-
fuck?
This
Man's
man's
salivating
drooling.
at the
I'm
thought of.
salivating at
Can
the
you talk or
He's
something?
he's
Like
enjoying-
you, the
he's
floor is
enjoying
yours.
some
But-
feta cheese.
It's a feta cheese. I have some. But no, that's what I
Oh
was saying.
no!
It's just
Shut the
as
fuck
valid as
up.
any other characteristic a person has. So if you just don't vibe with that specific type of person, it's just that is what it is. There's just take L's, my guy, if they don't like you like that.
Theoretically, so what you're saying is that there
No,
could be
Eddie-
a transgender woman that you could vibe with.
Huh? Wait, oh, and now you're gonna ask me for my personal
Trying to make it personal preference now.
I said,
I'm not close to the maybe. I mean, it hasn't happened yet. If it comes along, it comes along. You know.
so you'd be
It's,
open to then.
Yeah, I'm open to the idea. Just
Okay.
I haven't seen it yet, right?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
was
Okay.
I was simply
I
gonna
just
say
wanted to know.
one kind of like, I guess, argument that I've seen made for, not wanting to date someone, or like, date someone who's even fully transitioned is childbirth. Yeah,
Oh,
you
yeah,
can
I
adopt.
wouldn't.
Yeah, you can adopt. Like, you can adopt, but some people want the what is it, like the blood
ch-
relation, I guess. They
No,
want
yeah,
connection. Some people
yeah,
want
I
that.
forgot about that stuff.
I
First
w-
of
I-
all,
that was like the
personally,
only thing I had to
genitalia is a
say on it.
cutoff for me, and then on top of that, having a I really do want children. So
All right. So DJ.
Oh, yeah, that's funny.
Fuck.
Oh yeah.
You
Kind
should
of what
kids,
like
bro.
Diego was saying. It just kind of goes from like person to person. Like I just feel.
John, really, bro? Come on, bro. He's
What
talking.
happened? I'm just
Yeah,
talking.
y'all
to you.
mute yourself.
Go ahead.
Chill. Damn.
Um, like for instance, like you go up to somebody, right, and be like, "Hey, I'm this, like this was me, like before," and okay, like I think it's just respectful to like let the person know, what the deal is, right?
I agree.
And then I think that it's also like at that point you've done all that you could, and it's up to the other person to give it some thought and to give you a response. And the response will differ from person to person. Some people will see you as you are now, but in the back of their mind, they will think of what you were.
True.
And they could be uncomfortable with that. Some people could see what you are now and only see you for what you are now and be okay with it and be content. Like, I don't think it makes anyone right or wrong, because if they feel uncomfortable, then why should they stay in something that makes them feel uncomfortable?
Big facts, man. Literally.
But also, I have sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, but I
That's
have
good.
I have a leading question. I didn't mean to take over Sarah's question, but if you were to go into sexual acts with someone who is a trans person, would you want them to tell you before or after?
I'll go first.
Before.
Yeah, before.
Can you go first?
Yeah, no, I was just answering DJ's questions before.
Okay.
But was there anyone else that wanted to say their opinion on that of DJ's question? Or are we just gonna be typing in chat?
I mean, I have a question I wanna ask, because I've seen this on TikTok before, and I really don't know how to feel about it. How do you feel about, like, let's say you fucking get into a relationship with someone, right, and they don't let you know of, like your preferences is, like, let's say you're straight, you want a cisgender woman, right, and they don't let you know that they transitioned first, and like you guys get into a big ass relationship. Let's say, for example, you want kids, and then that's when they let you know that they are they went through the surgery, they transitioned. Like, are they in the wrong? Like, what is your guys' opinion on that?
Ooh,
I
Sarah,
think-
go first. I want
Wait,
to go
hold
next.
on,
Nah,
Sarah.
nah.
No, it would be, you want to go next.
I wanna actually.
Ganya was actually first to
next-
talk before Ron.
Yeah,
if anything.
I just want to say my opinion on the trans. Me personally, I wouldn't date someone that was trans if they were or they weren't. Reasoning, there's a lot of reasons. Don't feel like getting into that. But to answer Ron's question, I feel like if the possibility were to occur, I feel like it would be disheartening in a way. I don't know. I think it would mostly because like, oh damn, you really didn't tell me all this time, and then like trying to have kids, and then yes, it's kind of selfish reasons. Like, yeah, I want my kids to be like mine, and you could go through all the other steps and ways like surrogates and all that, but then it's like, I don't know. It's like feels like some kind of betrayal of some sort, in my opinion.
Yeah, I was gonna
Well,
say the issue with that's a lot less than being like trans and more of kind of like the breach of like lack of trust, I guess, in a
Yeah, because
sense.
at that point, if I did that, I wouldn't even. I'm pretty sure if I got with someone that didn't tell me for
Hello?
that long, I'm pretty sure I wouldn't care at that point. It's just like, damn, fuck. Okay.
Go ahead, Sarah. Go ahead, Sarah.
well, because if we're gonna use this argument, right, of if you want kids, right, Ron, say for instance, like you and I like each other,
Mm.
right? What if I'm infertile? I'm a cisgender woman, but you still want kids. Like, would you still pursue a relationship with me?
No.
Thanks, Ron.
Hey,
I'm sitting here
Oh,
fucking.
dude, Ron said
Hold on, hold on. I'm
okay.
sitting here smoking my vape. I'm sitting here smoking my vape, and then this
No,
man
because
fucking
Zach-
responds, bro.
No,
I
it's 'cause
almost,
Zach answered. That's why she said thanks, Ron.
I
Like,
almost fucking died, nigga. God damn.
John,
said
what
no,
is
it's 'cause
that
Zach
spit for?
answered.
you no vaping during the
Uh,
podcast, bro. You gotta keep it
Wait, did my
professional.
hand get deleted?
No,
Professional
it-
vape.
In
Bro,
my
Eddie's
re-
still
that's
next
okay.
though.
in my response, depending on like if I like you enough to fucking want a kid with you, then we can adopt.
Facts.
He's so sweet.
I think that's that simple as it gets.
Wait, does that apply to a trans woman?
Yeah, that's what I was gonna ask next because your initial thing that you said, and I'm not attacking you for beliefs, but I'm genuinely like, trying to understand everything, right? Why can't you use that same logic for a trans
What the
woman?
fuck? Did Discord just die for everybody?
No,
No.
just
Nah,
you.
I did not.
Oh, what the fuck?
Yeah,
It's
I
a
want to answer
Venezuelan
that.
internet.
I want. Wait, Eddie, did you want to go after Ron?
All right, no, that's fine.
Oh,
Can we
Eddie
put
has
hands
to
in the
go.
chat? Can we put hands in the chat, please?
oh, it's
Trying
because
to answer that
I
too.
was okay. So Ron asked earlier because Ron's
No,
question
no, no.
was
Ron
he
was
didn't
supposed
tell
to
you.
answer it. No, Eddie. Ron was supposed to answer.
No,
the
no, no,
question.
because I had raised my hand.
But
to
I
the
know,
question
but
Ron
Ron,
asked
but,
earlier.
but Sarah asked a specific question to Ron, so Ron
Yeah.
has to answer. So I was asking, are you going after Ron? That's all I was asking.
Okay. I mean, yeah, I can go after Ron. It's fine.
All right, so Ron, you can go.
Ron can go.
Me
My bad, I'm sorry.
personally, I want a cisgender woman. It's what I was raised on. Belief system. I'm a Christian. Just
Mm.
like my beliefs. So I would not date a transgender woman personally, but that's just what I want. And I feel as though personal preferences are allowed in this case.
I agree.
Not that
Okay,
not
Eddie?
that I hate them or dislike them, but to choose who I want to like spend the rest of my
Eddie?
days with, I feel as though that's okay.
Eddie.
Okay, so like, yeah, Ron asked earlier if like a trans person didn't tell you off the bat that like they were trans, like what would you do? And it's like, thing is, there's like so many reasons why they don't tell you,
Yeah.
and I feel like something as deep as like like I used to be a man. I feel like okay, so like, would you classify that as like private information, low key a little bit?
No,
Like,
when you-
Well, yeah.
when you so the thing is private information when you're
like
getting
some like
into
information you only
intimate-
tell somebody that you're very close or intimate with.
exactly.
I would
So
s-
if you're
Like you wouldn't want
trying to get
everybody
to-
knowing that.
So if you're trying to get to that point of intimacy with someone else, and let's say you know that person has these specific beliefs, but yet you still do that anyway, and then they end up finding out later, how would you think that person would feel?
Okay, well, yeah,
Exactly, and
that's true.
honestly, if you're
That
asking that
is-
question, if you're gonna fuck, I'm pretty sure fucking and giving your body to somebody
You need to tell
is
them.
is more personal than telling them your how you are as a person.
Yeah.
That's what I believe. If you're gonna give somebody your body, telling them your transgender literally comes right before. It's not as dramatic as giving. Yeah.
Yeah, because like at a first date, you won't be like, "Oh, by the way, I used to be a man." Like first thing you sit down, because then like, I mean, like
Well,
for one,
nowadays, right? Because it's such a heavy
yeah,
topic.
yeah, and for one, like I'm granted, a lot of people will lose out. Like a lot of trans women will lose out on dates first off the bat for like the, like I'm not saying like they should just be lying to niggas, but that is I feel like that is one reason why they do it, and then another reason why it could be like, oh, because
Getting murdered.
yeah, they get beat up immediately as soon as telling people sometimes, as I've confirmed with Sarah now that it still happens to people. So it's like, yeah, you go tell them and then they fucking rock your shit. And then now it's like, okay, well, what's the fucking point? You went through the effort of trying to be nice to people and, and people are like, oh, yeah, tell me off the bat. And then you get your ass beat. Now look at you. Like, you just look dumb as fuck. And that's why you're going to keep it a secret.
Yeah, I could get that, but also, see, it's not a slippery slope, but it's a really, really touchy topic because at one point you could lie, and at the point you lose the risk of possibly losing your life or getting harmed in some sort of way. Because not every dude is like, I would say, decent as us niggas in this chat, where we could come from an understanding viewpoints and shit.
Yeah.
So I get it, but at the same time, it's just like this is just me personally, because even though I was saying that shit about the whole like, oh, look bigger upon yourself, the world is bigger than you. When it comes to stuff like one-on-one things, that's when it becomes individualistic, in my opinion. Because I was talking about a more broader term, because like me and my beliefs, if you are gonna do that to where I feel like I was deceived or some shit like that, it was just like kind of fuck with me personally. Like I
Yeah,
don't know.
yeah.
It just be really like damn, what the fuck? I just got like low key bamboozled. But I know I shouldn't say it like that, but that's, I don't know.
We can all classify that scummy behavior, right? Like we can all say that's like pretty scummy. Like somebody didn't tell you though, and you had sex with them.
Not
Like we can agree that like
yeah,
is
like
kind of like
if you
fucked
like
up.
It's just out
yeah.
of respect for the other person.
Yeah.
I
You know,
feel
but
like
then,
that's just
Like, imagine
that's
fucking
just a
somebody and
risk.
not telling them you have AIDS, bro. That's
And
just
regardless of like
Yeah.
even my religion, because
Yeah,
like
but
yeah, I'm
STD.
Muslim, like Ron, even regardless of my religion, I would still have the same viewpoint I do right now. It's not even just that. It's just like that's just not, I guess, my
Well,
cup
you
of
don't
tea.
know that.
Nah, I do know that.
You're
I
with your
mean,
different timelines.
unless
Hmm.
you've literally met yourself in a different, like, alternate universe where you're like Jewish.
That's true. You would never actually know
But,
how
hey,
gone
But
you
the
would be
thing is,
without
the
Muslim.
thing
let's
is, the
act
thing
Dr.
is, the thing
Strange.
is, I don't
Without
talk about,
universe.
A
I don't really
non-Muslim
talk
Ganyu
about
would never exist.
when it comes to like topics like this. I don't really talk about possibilities. I talk about probability. So probably me knowing myself, regardless of my religion, no.
Would you still be yourself if your religion was different?
Yeah, because I didn't even know I had a religion when I was growing up. So yeah, I didn't really know if I was
Eh,
Christian or Muslim. I was just ambiguous at that point.
But the teachings of your parents were based on like
yeah,
Muslim teaching,
exactly.
right?
You
So
didn't
like
know, but
you were born with the
soft.
indoctrination
Yeah,
of
that
Muslim
indoctrination, but that
like
indoctrination has nothing to do with my personal
unknowingly.
viewpoints. No, it's not
Oh,
unknowingly. Like
yeah, it is a
As a
very
as a child
subconscious thing.
as a child
it's not a self. I promise you, if the thing is,
Ganyu, no one on this planet can say for certain
and no one
if
can,
X
yeah,
was
you can't say for
changed,
certain for
then Y.
anything. So why would I talk about that possibility if
You
nothing is
literally
confirmed? I
said
don't know.
that even
well, yeah,
if
you
you
said
weren't
like
Muslim,
if you
Yeah,
weren't
you would have the
Muslim,
same
Yeah,
belief.
because I'm talking about just myself. Like, because me right now, I'm not. My religion has nothing to do with how I see like all that shit. Cause like, yeah, my religion plays a viewpoint on certain things and gives me a broader aspect. But the thing is, I'm taking my religion out of the equation and just looking about how is Ganyu just by himself.
no, but yeah, you could do that now because you're an adult. But like
Yeah, because I'm an adult and I went through all the processes and all that
but
shit.
I feel like Ganyu himself, the person Ganyu is like you like a lot of your life, a lot of your like
Yeah, my life is based on my
uh
experiences,
Well,
and if
hypothetically.
the only thing,
your
and
what's
if
the
the
word?
only thing
Fuck, I
that
can't find
changed
the
was my
word.
religion, then I would still be on the same viewpoint.
Okay.
We don't know that for sure. Next topic.
We're
Alright.
gonna retract because this is a hot
Yeah,
topic.
honestly,
Oh,
yeah.
is
We're gonna
Angela
go
can't
back
talk
to
about
the.
this
We're gonna
Okay.
Well, no.
we're gonna go
but-
back to the topic of what Eddie was before the this fucking bullshit that you started talking about.
Well, I
What,
was
people
gonna
getting
say
beat
what
up?
what Ron asked.
What
You
did
mean people
Ron ask?
getting? Were you what I was talking about?
The
Ron was talking
part
about?
where is it scummy to not tell someone truthfully before or after?
Oh,
But what did Ron ask?
I'm raising my hand. I'm raising.
I was asking, like, is it wrong? Like, I guess, is a transgender person in the wrong for not telling their partner that they
Oh.
they went through a
That they're
transition?
trans.
Oh,
Yeah.
right. That was Ron that asked. I believe that it is full discretion to the person, depending on their intentions with the parties. So if you know that you want something from this second party and you are withholding that information solely on the fact of oh, what if they think this? They won't do this, so I'm gonna hold on to that information. I do feel like that is kind of scummy because you have your intentions in mind, you know what you want, but if you know that that topic might be a make or break deal, and you forcefully hold that information just because you're afraid of the outcome, I do believe it's scummy. And the second part would be like, oh, what if they get their shit rocked or something just because of the like. The mistake that you had was expecting everybody in this world to coddle you or to be nice, I guess, for lack of a better word, and to be accepting. Not everybody's gonna have the same beliefs or the acceptance as everybody else, and it is a very much a gray area when talking about it. I would say to see if the other person would like, oh yeah, they would accept it, like, and then how they would take it, but it is a very much a gray area for it.
Okay, so just to clarify, you're not saying like that it's okay for people to like get their shit rocked for saying that they like came out as transgender, right? Like, just
No, I'm not. I'm not
okay.
saying they should get the shit rocked. That's
Okay, just making sure.
What the fuck?
You shouldn't.
Because he was like on the topic of people getting their shit rocked. You know, people are just gonna react to like the way. I'm like, okay, well, that doesn't mean that you could just like swing on niggas though. Like, what the
Agreed.
fuck?
There's no
okay.
justification.
No. So
between-
I believe for like that is if you feel like you need to rock someone's shit because something they told you out of confidence or like how they believe, I believe that you're very insecure about something.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude, that's true. I
Like,
agree,
oh
I
my
agree with
god,
that.
this you came out to me as a transgender person. I gotta rock your shit. Like, how does that make sense in your head? What went through your head to say I gotta rock you because you told me this? What?
The cuffs.
People who just aren't comfortable in their own sexuality, so they gotta take their insecurities out on other people.
Who's next after me? Was it Sarah?
Eh,
Yes, it me.
What do you mean,
Go ahead.
You rock niggas because they're transgender, bro?
no. But I don't
bro,
fully,
hands.
I don't fully agree with that statement, Eddie.
So people who beat up on transgender people are 100% comfortable in their sexuality, and they don't beat up on transgender
Do you?
people.
But the thing is, you can't say they are and they aren't. I just wouldn't make that kind of statement.
Okay, that's true.
regardless.
That's true, right? You can't
That's-
just
that's-
generalize all the
that's-
people who beat up on transgender
Well,
people. True.
No,
I
you're
don't.
not-
I
But
don't agree with
no,
that statement
I'm
either.
just-
That doesn't make sense.
Oh my god.
No, Eddie, you're kind of like.
If they're beating out somebody for having alternate ideals,
That's pussy shit.
It is
that's.
pussy
I mean,
shit.
it's fucked up.
Bro, I'm not
but
s- gonna
it
just
doesn't
say,
have
do
to
with them
rely
being
on their
sexual."
own
Yeah.
sexuality. Just it has no it has no direct correlation. That I mean, most yeah,
know, I was
it
just
just
joking.
doesn't have it. It just doesn't have it at all. It just doesn't make sense. Next.
All right. Does anybody have any more else? Any other inputs to?
Sarah's still going
Maybe
up,
there
right?
is some cool.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Sarah's
Sarah
about to
said she
go.
has something to say.
Because why would you feel the need to beat
Shut
up? on
up!
transgender
Shut
people?
up!
Eddie, let's.
Shut up!
Bro, Eddie, I have a real need to beat the fuck out of you. So
Honestly.
Big mouth.
As a they themer, you're getting your ass beat. Disgusting.
All right, Sarah, go.
Because my thing is, I mean, I don't know. I'm like teetering between like bi and pan because I just really don't care as long as I like the person that I'm with. And the thing is, I want kids, right? Like, I would love to have kids that are biologically mine, but like I had plans to adopt anyway. So I personally wouldn't mind if my partner was a trans man, a trans woman, or non-binary trans for that matter. I don't know. I just like, I personally don't care, and quite frankly, I feel like they're not obligated to tell me anything that they're not comfortable with, because I I can understand why they wouldn't want to. Maybe because they're scared, or maybe because like they just don't feel the need to. Mm, but I don't know. I feel like if you do want a happy relationship, then you should be, or if you want a healthy, happy relationship, it is important to lay things bare and to be openly able to communicate about anything. Because as much as I respect that person's wishes to not tell me these things, I would also feel a bit like sad that maybe they don't feel the trust to disclose that kind of information.
Okay. DJ, go ahead.
Oh yeah. This kind of pulling off what Sarah said. Like I don't think that it's an obligation, to tell your significant other, the person that you're involved with, what's going on. But at the same time, that moment where you take that step and you say something or you don't say something, there's that's a choice that you've made, and you can't be upset with the outcome.
I ain't gonna lie to you.
Because if you decide not to say something and down the road it becomes an issue, you have to understand that you did that to yourself. Like that's just,
after the fact. I won't get you. Won't She can't get mad at anybody.
yeah,
for, like,
it's like okay,
telling
I decided that I wanted to withhold this information, and this is the outcome, and we're gonna have to deal with this now. I told you, whenever we first started talking, and you stayed with me or you didn't stay with me, and that's the outcome. So there's no obligation. I think it's definitely more respectful, but it's at the end of the day, you have the right to either tell the person or not, but you can't blame the other person. You
Yeah.
can't blame who needs to be told if like how they should act when you tell them.
Hmm.
Whoo-wee.
Interesting.
Does
Okay.
anyone else have something to say? Because
Anybody else's thoughts on transgender people and them telling you?
or anything else about our generation being a piece of shit?
Because I agree with Sarah.
John,
I don't think people have to tell
you
me
you
whether or
haven't
not
said
they're
anything this whole
transgender.
time.
Okay.
I
Okay,
rather, I
Kanye.
mean, I really just wanted to listen to everybody's points on the said topic, but I mean, as far as trans people, like being comfortable with
I didn't
telling
see
their
you put your hand
partners.
up, sir.
Bro, shut up.
Yeah,
Shut up,
Hands
Angelo.
up,
Let him
hands up,
talk.
hands up.
You want me to end the statement or
Put your
something?
hands up.
No, you can go ahead.
Okay, like as far as trans people, like no one needs to know that they're trans unless they're like romantically involved or they're going into like a sexual situation with them. Like at that point, like that's their business. Why, like if you see them from afar, like, oh damn, that's my crush. Someone like speaks the way they're trans. Like, I'm sorry, that wasn't your business to begin with. Damn. Like if somebody I know is, or I know several trans people, and they're like, oh, I'm going to a relationship. Like, if I'm on Tinder or anything, like sometimes they'll be as bold to say, oh, by the way, I'm trans in their profile, but they'll avoid putting that shit in their profile because some people will literally match with them just to fucking hate on them. It's like, oh, I gotta put that in my profile. Oh, I'm good. Nope. Because like as a person who's like on the gay side of Tinder, of course, like I'll occasionally come across like women, and I'm like, oh, okay, what's this? And it's like, oh, this is a trans woman. I um like they'll have it like their symbol and like the thing like secretly, I guess. And like I can understand like not it's not the word masquerading because that sounds bad, but at the same time, like no one needs to know unless they're trying to get involved with you. If I'm going into a relationship with somebody and I want to like fully like go on like you want to be boyfriend girlfriend, well, if we want to continue this any further, I think I should let you know that I'm trans. It's not like, oh, I'm trans before you even like have a crush. I'm trans, like, oh, let me throw it at you. Like, no, that's not your business. The fuck?
Yeah,
Why should I have to think on that?
I full-heartedly agree with that point.
That's all I have to say.
You said agree?
Yeah, like John's take, I agree with that point.
I agree with it too, but before like, yeah, I
Damn, like
agree.
Gandhi 2 months ago probably wouldn't
But I
know.
still agree that you should say it.
What are you talking
before
about? You don't.
sleep
You
with
didn't even know what I
somebody,
was thinking 2 months ago.
because I personally believe
Nah,
that.
we know you, Gandhi.
Yeah, that's what I say.
We have
I
deep
like
dive information about you.
Because giving
it's like
somebody
you're
your
going through
body is way
situations like
more.
that.
I'll say it's more important than telling them you're trans. So it's like in order, right? That's what
We
I'm trying
had
to
the same
say.
conversation 2 months ago.
Did we?
Yes, we did, dude.
I'm pretty sure you didn't have the same fucking
No, I
opinion
did.
as before.
had the same exact opinion, same exact one.
Really?
But that's not. That's
Who
a.
was it?
That's a different story. So okay.
Am I thinking about
so
someone else?
No,
I'm thinking
nigga.
about someone else. Yeah, no, I'm
Was-
thinking about someone else.
All right. Any other
Okay,
closing
so
arguments for it?
yeah. Anything else? Any random factoids anyone wants to
Anybody
share?
ready to beat up on some?
The mitochondria is the power.
We're about to get ready to fucking gather
Sure.
on Diego's house
Alright.
and fucking rock his shit. That's
Alright.
what's going on.
I'm full on board.
So this is what we're finna do. Everyone's gonna make a closing statement.
Everyone.
Everyone is gonna make a closing statement. Just say whatever the fuck you want.
Like a sentence or less.
Anything. Doesn't matter. All right. So thank you for
Yeah,
coming
but
to
just
the
answer.
Reserve Chord podcast. This is your host, Ganyo Giran. Thank you to our mediator, Angelo, and thank you for our useless co-host, Juno and Ice.
Useless. I
so-
promoted discussion. What you mean,
Bitch,
nigga?
a bitch ass up, nigga. All right. So
What about useless, bro? Nair didn't even say shit. Literally
Oh,
said, like,
well,
lurkers in
hold
chat,
on.
bro,
To be
pathetic
fair,
Diego.
Neri did not even try to insinuate.
Bro,
the
Neri's
conversation.
here.
Wait, we introduced Neri?
We
Wait,
did.
what?
Bro,
Wait, didn't we?
Yes,
We
guys.
did, bro.
Remember
I didn't
when
miss. The only
Eddie
person I
couldn't
missed
do
was
his
Sarah.
Roman number? Roman
All right,
numeral?
all right. Regardless
The
of
only
that,
person I missed
okay.
was
Shout out to
Sarah.
that nigga Diego.
Hey, that's me. Smile. Hello. Bye bye. Good night.
Shout out to the nigga DJ. DJ?
Yeah, sorry.
Nah, DJ passed out.
Wait,
DJ
what-
DJ
what-
swung.
what-
Good night, DJ. Go get some rest, bro.
Wait, what do I
Closing
need to do?
statement, bro. You got a closing
Oh,
statement?
closing statement. Dude, stay confident in yourself. That's it.
All right. Okay,
Facts.
Zachary.
Ayo, the world may not owe you anything, or you may owe fuck yeah, the world may not owe you anything, but you know what? It costs $0 and 0 cents to be a decent person and understand and respect each other.
Okay, but I'm
God.
gonna play devil's advocate here. It also
Alright,
costs
go ahead.
$0 and 0 cents to be an asshole.
You know what? You're completely right.
Kinda
All right. And next up we
Kinda
got the
right.
boy. And next up we got the boy Ron.
Um,
Ron.
would it be wrong of me if I was using my pocket pussy during the fucking podcast?
Hell nah.
Hell
No,
nah, boy.
no.
We out here free liberation 2021.
I'm just
Neri.
like,
I know you're there, dude.
Kind of
Hey yo. Hey yo.
Yeah.
Oh, let him talk, bro. Let him.
Yo, Neri, that's a listener's spot, right?
All right.
And-
No, for real.
Damn,
Neri.
why y'all laughing at him, bro?
Man was just here for the ride.
Nothing
Swear
wrong
to
with
God,
that.
y'all are just-
Hey yo. Come commission me at JuniorVR on Twitter.
What the fuck?
Okay,
Get
yeah,
off
yeah.
your big
After that.
lap,
Moving to
bro.
listeners.
All right. Next up we got Sarah. Yeah. Statement.
We didn't really get to discuss like the meat of what I really wanted to talk about, but TLDR, I don't think our generation is soft. I would make the argument that that
We're very hard.
that the older generation is soft because we're just tired of taking the older generation's bullshit and we're actually like calling them out on it now.
Oh, I'll give you that one. Applause.
Hey yo.
I feel like a lot of old niggas need to die anyway.
I'm simping right now.
Honestly,
Oh,
survival of
I'm
the
gonna be
fittest
honest
on
with
that
you.
bitch.
Alright, that's being edited out.
Run him down, bro.
That's gonna be one of the hottest
Why
takes
is the
ever.
why is the
What do you-
average?
I was joking. I believe everyone should live long lives and be healthy. But anyway, Angelo, you're next.
Wait, what? Hold
Oh,
up,
I'm next.
Sarah wasn't even finished, bro.
She was.
bro.
That's some.
So
Bro, women don't get a fucking say in this.
so are you talking?
Ah.
Ooh.
That's another one getting edited out.
I'm sorry, bro. It was wrong of me to misgender you. No one cancel me. Um,
Damn.
but yeah, I would just say our generation is a lot harder than people like make us out to be. And you're beautiful, all of you, the way y'all are. Except if you're racist, sexist, or transphobic, then go suck a dick and die.
Hell yeah, go to hell.
Go get help.
Yeah, that too.
Young titty mixer out.
Yo, Eddie. No, Angelo, you're next.
Actually, I mean, we started out with clues, and now it's what? Student loans
Stop.
Oh, you watched the video too?
and jobs and families. I'm joking.
Oh yeah.
For me, it's all about staying true to yourself and really just finding out what kind of person you really want to be, and staying true to the character that you feel that you really are. That's just pretty much it for me.
And
I identify
next,
as a Dominican.
True. And next we got the boy Pastel King, aka John.
Oh, hi.
Okay.
Clean statement. Mind your
Okay, I'll just
business.
see how it is.
Okay. Clean
What?
statement. Mind your business. Respect trans people and don't get stepped on.
All right, last two people, me and Eddie. Eddie, you go.
Oh.
But what if I want to get stepped on?
Then enjoy it.
Oh, someone lap his ass right now.
I got you.
Yeah,
We'll step on you by not visiting your
for the
Twitter
most part,
account.
yeah, our generation, yeah, it's not that soft, I don't think. I kind of agree with Sarah that a lot of old people kind of just don't want to change their ways and are really fucking pussies when it comes to like adapting to change. No, I'm dead ass, bro. A lot of old people are bitches. but like, honestly though, like, just number one thing I preach, bro, is just be understanding. Like, I feel like you should be able to see other people's circumstances and at least their side before like judging them super hard. Like, at least like try to see their side of any kind of situation. But yeah, that's pretty much my
All right, it's your nigga
closing
Ganyu.
thoughts.
I'm about to make my closing
Wait,
thought.
hold on, wait.
What you talking
Sarah
about?
wants to add one more thing.
No, when everyone's done.
No, go.
No, go.
No,
Wait, you
no,
want the
and
last
Ganyu
one
has to
back?
close it
Hell
out.
yeah. Wait. Nah, actually, no. I'm gonna be a fucking dictator in this bitch. I always do that shit.
Hold on now. You got too much dip on your chip.
I ain't gonna like a lot of dip. I like my shit saucy, you feel me?
Oh,
Just cut it already. Oh my
I-
god.
Nah.
I just want to throw out shout out to
My
the boy
mouse.
Hugh, also
Wanna
known
share?
as Jason, who couldn't be here today because homeboy is enjoying a nice, relaxing weekend with his girlfriend.
What a fucking
But
simp.
he is the one that wanted to bring up the argument that our generation isn't soft, and we were talking about this before. But I do also want to say that I really appreciate everyone's openness about this discussion. I really appreciate that we're all friends, and even though we do have differing opinions, we're not gonna tear each other apart about it. So
On a podcast at least.
That was beautiful.
Oh yeah. I'm about to
All right.
post the nigga
Oh wait,
versus-
hold on. Can I shout out somebody real quick?
No, I want to.
There you go. Yeah, shout out.
Stall it, Eddie.
All right. Okay, we're gonna make this. Okay, I'm gonna make my closing argument. It's the nigga Ganyu. All right. Believe in yourself. Love each other. Don't disrespect niggas or you're a bitch nigga. No fake niggas. No switch niggas. No fake switch
This
niggas.
nigga wanted to say this shit so badly, bro.
I did.
Rest in peace to nigga Etika, but bro, you
Rest
did not
in
have to
peace to
force
that
that
nigga
shit, bro.
Etika,
Relax.
But either way, bro,
He died for her sins, and you gotta bring that shit
No,
up, bro.
he really did. But
but
either
it's
way,
not
man.
even November 4th.
Bro, no, either way though, but no cap, bro, try to if you have a problem with someone that you care for, if you can care for, at least try to have a conversation with them, try to come to an understanding point, and just look each other's views on their own perspectives, and don't just assume shit just because you hear it off basis. Learn more about each other, love each other. There's more than this world than just you, but also you are also important as well, and that's about it.
I will literally drive to Tyler and Okay, that's what I thought.
Yo, shout out to the
Why
nigga
you doxing
Cordy who
him?
got me my Mazda.
All right, no, you
piece
can
of
end that
shit.
shit. You can end it.
Beast. We're keeping that in the episode, by the way.